Welcome to another episode of the Agency Success GPS podcast. In today's episode, I have Troy Dean, the man, the myth, and the legend in the agency coaching space. He is the CEO and founder of WP Elevation and the Mavericks Club. Both are dedicated to serving freelancers and agency owners hoping to break through the 6- and 7-figure mark. I figured there would not be a better person to ask this question. Between the two of us, 25 to 30 years of building agencies and coaching agencies. And between the two of us, we probably have coached thousands. I know I'm well over 1,000. I'm sure he's well over 5,000 or 10,000. So I'm not going to get much better sourced when it comes to what you can do to reload during downtimes. So during the COVID pandemic here, he and I put our brain powers together to discuss the top 3 things you can do to not just survive, but to thrive and reload your agency during downtimes. Troy brings some amazing knowledge and drops some serious nugget bombs in there, so I hope you enjoy. And as always, nothing but the best.
Need to be doing because they want to feel busy and they want to feel productive and they want to feel like they're actually doing something. And so our recommendation at the moment is to identify the 20% of your activities that move 80% of the value for your clients and therefore 80% of the profit for your business, and just focus on that and stop doing everything else. So really not shrinking the business, but shrinking your activities. And instead of trying to bake half a dozen blueberry pies at once, just bake one really good pie, become the best in the world at it, identify who you serve and who you can serve better than anyone else, and then just go about your business of serving those people better than anyone else, providing amazing customer service, helping your clients get through this weird period that we're living through at the moment. And you'll come out the other side leaner and stronger. You might take a revenue hit over the next few months, and that's okay because most people are going to, but you'll come out of it in a much better position. So just kill the waste in your business. There's a few things we're doing is identifying fat that can be trimmed straight away so you can improve your cash flow, identifying what it is you do and what your sweet spot is, and then just becoming really good at that, and then identifying growth opportunities for your clients. So we've got one client in our Mavericks Club Mastermind who services health practitioners, and he's just spent the last couple of months building out a WordPress multi-site for his yoga schools and his Pilates teachers to get them all online. And so he's now got a completely separate product offering that he's going to scale. Once we're out of coronavirus, he's going to scale this. And that's because he identified a growth opportunity for his clients. Most people are in panic mode and freaking out, which is fine. That's a normal reaction to something like this. But ultimately, life is going to go on. World is going to continue. Business needs to keep growing. And your job as a consultant is to identify those growth opportunities for your clients and help them navigate their way through it. So, if there were 3 things, probably cut the fat, identify your sweet spot, and then identify growth opportunities for your clients.
Okay. Here's what I have, and then I'm thinking we'll leave the rest of it up for banter because I have a strong suspicion once you and I get into this, I think I don't think we're gonna have a problem coming.
No, not at all, man. I much prefer these podcasts where it's more of a conversation rather than like.
I am very much an organic guy, but I do like to have a couple questions in case we need something to fall back on. Okay, so here's what I have: 80-20 focus. 80-20 focus on the 20. I always say that as systems and product optimization. Whenever you have downtime like this, it's very rare you get some downtime like this as an entrepreneur. Very rare, right? So now is the time to look inward and look what's happening inward. How can you really streamline those systems and operations? And I'll add a little bit to that, and then I'll just kind of cut back over to cut the fat. Okay. And the third one, I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of interject the third one. Focus on future growth, because in my experience, over almost 20 years now, we have the third gold rush coming. The first one was the .com, obviously, and the second one was the social media kaboom in 2007, 8, 9, 10, right? Well, this one, what has everybody in the world been telling you to do? What every governmental leader, everybody, go virtual. They've now got a taste of it. All that old school business practices that they simply refuse to get into the 20th century, 21st century, okay? Now they're forced. They now know that they can do it, and the fear around that is gone. Well, guess who they need? Guess who they need to implement that? That's going to be our basis. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Like it.
All righty, man. So I've already been recording some of this. We might can use this as snippets, teasers, kind of stuff like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The official one's going to get started here in just a second. Okay. I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we'll hit it. All right.
Cool. And just a quick caveat. I'm working from home, obviously, and loving it. I got a 2.5-year-old in the next room there and we've got a newborn. So my wife is currently trying to get some sleep in bed with the newborn. So there's a small chance that he might just walk in halfway through the podcast. So,
well, my apologies. I meant to say congratulations on the baby boy,
thanks,
girl.
mate.
I didn't see.
Girl, we had a little girl. We had a little girl, yeah.
Can you see this?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can see this back here. Anyway, I'm a single dad, and I have an 11-year-old,
cool.
and and the matter of fact, she's in there, and she definitely on a very random basis be like, "Daddy," so that might happen. That might happen.
Awesome.
Although I told her don't do it. So anyway, all right.
yeah.
You know how that goes, right? So
yeah.
Okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, if that does happen, we're going to keep it in there because all it does is just honestly make it better, in my opinion.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
All right, then you ready? You ready?
Yep. Yeah.
And by the way, there is no time limit. There are no restrictions. If you want to, we just do whatever's organic, whatever we're delivering value on, rock it out. Okay.
Yep. So I do have a hard stop at 9 o'clock my time, which is in about 48 minutes from now.
Plenty of time. All right, cool deal. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey, Troy, thank you so much for coming on my podcast today. We have got a wonderful topic. I've been looking forward to discussing this with you for a couple of weeks now since we planned it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. During downtimes like this, I've always found it's kind of a good time to reload, right? And we were brainstorming a little bit before we got in here. It sounds like you're of the same mindset. You mentioned something about an 80-20 focus. And so whenever there is a downtime, in this specific situation, it's COVID, or in 2008 was the financial. 2000, Bill Clinton, there's another one in 98, 99, whatever, dating myself there a little bit. But there's always opportunities like this. And notice I said opportunities, not stress. You should not be freaking out now. You should be reloading. You should really be kind of looking internally at that. And you had a great formula around the 80-20. Would you mind elaborating on that for us a little bit? So
what we're seeing with a lot of our clients at the moment and our clients are all agency owners, and they're working, there's a lot of waste in agencies. In all business, there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of half-started projects. There's a lot of thought bubbles that never get followed through. And there's a lot of spinning the wheels, people being very busy, doing lots of activity, thinking that they're being productive, and that's what they need to be doing. And an opportunity like this that we're going through at the moment gives us some time to reassess our business and to look at the 20%. So Pareto's principle is that there's 20% of whatever it is that moves 80% of the value. And this applies across a lot of things. If you look at the iTunes App Store, 80% of the revenue is made by 20% of the app developers. So this 20-80 rule applies across a lot of different domains in business and life. And our advice at the moment, and what we're seeing a lot of our clients do, is focus on the 20% that they do that moves 80% of the value for their customers and therefore 80% of the profit for the business. So if you're, a great e-commerce shop and you've started doing some SEO a couple of years ago for clients because that's what they were asking for and that's what you thought you needed to provide as a service provider, maybe now's the time to ask yourself, in the words of the book From Good to Great by Jim Collins. Jim Collins. It's the hedgehog effect. What can you be the best in the world at, right? Ask yourself, what can we be the best in the world at? If you are really good at e-commerce, then just do e-commerce. Maybe providing SEO and email marketing and social media campaigns for clients is not something that you need to do. You might feel like you should do it, but it may be not essential. And at the moment, here's an opportunity to actually trim the fat out of the business and just focus on the 20% that moves 80% of the value.
I have found over the years that a lot of times, especially when you're in the freelancer phase, whenever you're not quite that agency, you're kind of that individual, maybe you have a little stable, 3 or 4 people kind of thing. I have to admit, you kind of take on projects sometimes to survive, right? And a lot of times that's how these things kind of bear fruit is that, you're out there trying to make payroll or whatever, and somebody asks you, can you do SEO? And you're like, yep, today I can, right? And here we go. And the next thing it keeps growing, right? And I say the same thing to my students like that. And I'm like, look, now is the time to look internal. Okay, it's kind of look at it. You've grown up a little bit, right? Going good to great. Funny you say that because this book right here literally changed my business career. And it's Jim Collins, but nobody ever heard of it because it's James Collins. She published it under James. So it's called Beyond Entrepreneurship. And so what it does is it kind of forces you to look at growing up, right? This is the book, this is the prequel to From Good to Great. And anytime that you have, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of kind of hard work there, there's always going to be fat. Like you were saying, there's going to be fat there. Do you really enjoy SEO? Do you really enjoy social media? And if you don't, you need to kind of trim that out of there. And I'm always talking about systems and product optimization. In 2008, when the financial situation hit, I had, I think, 9 or 10 employees, and I was, holy cow, what the hell am I going to do? How am I going to make payroll? So what did I do? I gutted the company from top to bottom, literally, because I was not happy with the fat. We turned into like a web design chop shop. We were doing heavy duty app coding, right? I hated it. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a business development guy. It's my passion. So in the first quarter of 2009, after announcing to everybody that you guys can stay on, come on, we don't want you. I didn't get rid of any employees. I just gutted our service offerings. And then we went straight into marketing, and we literally blew up from that moment forward, just blew up because we were forced to slow down, look internal. Do we really like this? Does that drive my passion as an entrepreneur? And after soul searching on it, it didn't. It did. Where I ended up is not where I wanted to be. And that happens a lot more often than would probably any of us would like to admit. And so I agree 100%. Focus on that 20%. Look internal and find a way to optimize and systematize. So.
Definitely. And I think the product optimization is an interesting thing, because one of the things we talk about a lot is the signature system. How do you differentiate from every other web designer or SEO or social media marketing manager on the planet? I mean, if you're, the irony is people enter the web design space and they enroll in a program about how to grow their business as a web designer. And the first thing we tell them is stop talking about web design, because web design is a commodity. You can buy web
well,
design.
It's true.
You buy web design on Upwork for $5 an hour. So stop talking about web design. Web design is just a deliverable that you offer as part of your signature system. And having a signature system, or a unique process, as Dan Sullivan calls it, is really the only way to differentiate. Now, the guy that's done this really well over the last probably 5 or 6 years, probably the best example of this is Russell Brunson. When he launched ClickFunnels, I was using lead pages and WordPress back then for marketing pages. And my biggest frustration was you'd log into lead pages and there was no structure to your pages. They were all kind of all over the place, and you'd have to scroll through your list of pages to figure out which campaign you were working on. And I always thought, wouldn't it be cool if these were organized into folders? But Russell Brunson, when he launched ClickFunnels, there was nothing actually new about the technology or the page builder, or in fact, it was pretty clunky when he first launched it. But what he did is he organized all of your pages into folders, but he didn't call them folders. He called them funnels and put a snappy name on it, ClickFunnels, and then went about telling this story about how, you don't need a website, you need a funnel. And I looked at the two pieces of technology and thought, wow, he's just repositioned or repackaged an existing product into something that is easy to understand. And now he has a point of difference, because if you need a funnel, if you buy into that story that you need a funnel, the only place you can get it is ClickFunnels. You can't get a funnel at WordPress, because that's an open source web design, web building software. You can't get a funnel at Lead Pages because they sell pages. The only place you can get a funnel is ClickFunnels. $8 million a month in recurring revenue later. And I think the guy's done a pretty good job of telling that story. And so all he did was took something that already existed and packaged it into a signature system or a unique process. And I think the fear that a lot of freelancers and agencies have is when they hear this, they go, well, I'm going to have to learn a whole bunch of new skills. I'm going to have to develop a whole new service offering. And the truth is, you don't. It's just repositioning and repackaging what you're already doing into something that's unique.
Definitely. You said something a while ago about just being a designer, and we tell them stop talking about being a designer, because it is a commodity. It's a skill set. It's ultimately what it boils down to. It's a skill set, and anyone out there can get pretty much any skill set they want. Now, what they can't get is, like you said, having a standardized system, a business model that really optimizes it. And I always use the example for one of my students is niched out in the craft brewery space, and in the craft brewery space, there's an app. It's called Untapped, and it's like the Uber for rideshare, but for craft breweries. Well, you can't have a craft brewery website unless you API integrate with that app, because they're on that all day long. It's integrated with it all day. They're updating, what's in, what's out, what's not, what's good, what's not hot, right? And so to get that API menu from Untapped to your websites, it's a pain in the ass. It's 12 to 15 hours worth of work. Well, obviously, any jack of all trades out there they're going to have to charge $2,000 for that. But if you can, during downtimes like this, kind of give yourself a competitive advantage by productizing that, now you can sell all of your websites that include untapped API integration for free. So that's one really small example. And when you really get into a niche, or you really kind of take your skill set and apply it to unique creative products with a, I didn't, you said, what did you call it again? Systems? What was it?
Signature system.
Signature systems like that. It is a game changer. It gives you an unfair competitive advantage over all of your competitors. It allows you to get into what's called value-based pricing, and it allows you to standardize the deliverable, which is where the real profit is, by optimizing the deliverable side.
Yep.
So no doubt about it. So
yeah, 100%. One of the catchphrases. One of the catchphrases I used years ago in a coaching call, and one of our students printed it out and put it up, and it kind of became a meme in our community, is, and I still believe this, I know this to be true, your job as an entrepreneur is to figure out, is to find a marketplace with a common need, find a hungry group of people with a common need, and then figure out a way to add value to that audience and deliver it in a way that allows you to extract a profit from the business as you're delivering that value. And that's really the job of, and it's exactly what you're talking about, is if you can take something like that API integration and standardize it, then you can then roll it out.
Yep.
It just becomes part of your signature system. All of our craft brewery websites have the untapped API built in, and everyone else is charging $2,000 for it. That's an unfair
exactly.
That's
and not only that, but your profit margin is higher because you can just literally unzip it, type in the API key, transaction key. It literally took you no time. You close the deal twice as fast. You delivered it twice as fast, and you charge $2,000 less.
Yeah.
Good luck competing with that, right? I mean, that's just, good luck. So another example are the automation. ClickFunnels does it wonderful. The share link, you can, Infusionsoft does it. You can build it out in your sandbox and syndicate it out. Big fan of that. You can build out these campaigns. Again, these are the optimization type, the 80-20. Focus on the things that whenever you build it once, you can sell it 1,000 times. It delivers overwhelming value. It delivers overwhelming value. And just as importantly, at least from my perspective, is it takes a very low level skill set to roll it out. Right. So you don't want to get into situations where you have to go out and hire $120,000 badasses, basically keep your agency going. That's the wrong direction. Now you do hire the $120,000 a year badasses, but they're in like vice president of sales, not in a designer type position. Right. So it's that kind of thing. So a while ago, you said something that was, again, kind of hit home with me, cut the fat. What are some examples, what are some examples you'd give out, kind of a budding agency out there? What kind of examples would you look at cutting the fat on?
Well, the first thing we do with our members is we walk them through a spreadsheet to identify what they're spending money on and what their recurring revenue is. And it's like opening the closet. I always say to our team here and our customers, I don't mind skeletons in the closet. I just want the lights on so I can see them. It's the ones I can't see that frighten me. So this spreadsheet is like turning the spotlight on in the wardrobe and saying, okay, you're spending too much money on stuff you don't need. Do an audit of all the software that you're running in your business, and I guarantee there's money there to be saved. Do an audit on all the things that you're spending money on and cut the fat and just run the business as if you were starting again. If you and I were starting a business right now from scratch with no funding, would we sign up for this software? If the answer is no, then just get rid of it and figure out a way to transition away from it. And the other thing is if you're, the problem with doing project work, this is why I'm such a big fan of recurring revenue, because it's predictable and you can do the things that you've been talking about. You can optimize the product, you can optimize the delivery, you can streamline it, and you can, basically boilerplate it and template it. If you are doing project work, one of the things that you're going to do as you grow is you end up hiring other people to come in and help you deliver those projects. And that gets expensive because typically you need to hire people quickly. You need to hire good people quickly, and that gets expensive. The old adage, good, fast, cheap. You can have two, you can't have all three. So if you need someone good and fast,
so
it's
true.
Expensive, correct?
Yep.
So doing an audit of everything you're spending money on, and then doing an audit of how you're delivering what it is that you sell, and standardizing that to remove the waste. It's all about leverage. One of the biggest challenges for web agencies and digital marketing agencies just working on projects is every time a client walks in the door, you've basically got to reinvent your business. You've got to allocate people to the right seat. You've got to kind of reinvent the way you do things. Whereas if you have a product offering, a client can literally choose a product off a menu and say, or you can prescribe the right medicine for the client based on their symptoms. And then you know that you can deliver that as a team in an optimized, profitable way. So that's kind of the exercise. It's super boring exercise and nobody wants to do it. Everyone's like, well, how do I get more clients? And the answer is, you may need more clients, but let's make sure the clients that you're attracting are profitable, because there's no point just getting more clients and having more revenue if your profit margins aren't dialed in.
Definitely. And even in my coaching program, even on the project side like that, I coach my students to where, look, if you're doing any more than 15 to 20% custom work on any product, any global, like agency wide, then you're failing. Okay. Because for example, a website, you can have a base website, 5 pages, depending on the niche, it includes these special features for that niche kind of thing. Templated 3,000, custom 6,000, and then you have bolt-on add-ons, right? And you keep a very boutique little staff there that handles those, because that's the $50,000 pops. But make sure you have your, I call it client path, whether it be customer journey, everybody has a different name for it, but mine I call client path. Just make sure that that's the next step is right there. So in my client path, I have strategy discovery, and then what's called asset creation. That's where you get the big ticket, the $50 to $150,000 pops. Right. Then immediately you go into the media traffic buying. And then, of course, you get into the actual CRM follow-up and the maintenance and the care. Okay. And so the last 4 phases of my client path all focus on residual for damn sure. But I put that one in there for the larger ticket items. I found that to be a good thing. I'm sure you have something in yours as well like that. But and the key is on those assets, what's called the asset creation phase. You can't get into bespoke, solid custom work all the time. And if that's what you're getting, change your messaging, you're delivering your messaging, you're delivering your value prop ineffectively at that point, most likely. So again, it's devil's in the details, right? But that's kind of how I coach a lot of my students on that stuff. So
yeah, we've got one of our mastermind members who does a lot of work with it's a large Microsoft enterprise CMS. Cannot remember the name of it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, hardly anyone's heard of it. But these guys work on, $50,000, $100,000 websites. And a lot of it is custom coding, because they're basically taking Umbrico, which is a CMS that the client uses to populate content, but then that's fed into a whole bunch of different front end systems via API. Now, so a lot of their work is custom in the actual developing of the code, but a lot of the other stuff around their business, like for example, the discovery part of their business is pretty much 90% the same every time they roll it out with the client. So what they're doing now is working through how to productize their discovery process and how to productize their maintenance. And what they're doing is the code that they're developing is they're turning that into extensions that they can reuse, but they can also then sell to other developers in the space, which is very similar to the WordPress plugin repository. So even if you are doing custom work, chances are when you write custom code, you're going to want to reuse that at some point, or someone else somewhere in the world is going to want to use that code at some point. So find a way to leverage everything you're doing, including custom. It's not always possible, but I think most of the time there is some leverage to be found.
Definitely. I agree. And I love how whenever you are, and again, there's no way to get away from custom work. You're going to have to do bits and pieces of it. That's welcome to digital, the beauty of digital is we can dream it up. Any entrepreneur in the world can dream anything up that they want. And there's somebody out there that can help them get there. That's the coolness of it. But don't get so caught up in the coolness of creating new things that you forget about running a business. And that's where have you found that to be true? They fall in love with the design, or they fall in love with the coding. And I'm like, no. What you are is you're freelance. You've got a profitable hobby, basically, is what this is.
That's
and if you ever want to kind of grow out of that and get into a legitimate business, you're going to have to cut ties with that. You're going to have to standardize, have to systematize, productize, and just run that route. So
yeah. We find one of the biggest challenges a lot of our customers have is they fall in love with automating their business. So they'll spend 3 days going down a rabbit hole automating stuff with Airtable and Zapier, and I'll just knock on the door and I'm like, hello, when was the last time you spoke to a potential customer and tried to sell them something? Get out of the, it's very exciting and you feel like you're adding value to the business, and we can all geek out over the automations, but if that's not a fire that needs to be put out right now, then just let it burn. It doesn't matter. Just get on with focusing on the most important stuff.
See, I built an agency called Get You Wired, and it was, it's about an 800-pound gorilla in the Infusionsoft community. It was by far the world's largest. We did more implementations and all these things. 6th division, phenomenal. They do more group coaching, kind of group implementation. We were the ones that kind of really did the really high end custom kind of stuff. And I don't know, 3,000 projects. And what I learned out of all of that is this. Just because you can automate it does not mean you should automate it.
That's
okay.
right.
The true value in automation is taking those really simple, mundane tasks and automating those to get the time savings. But if you think you're going to build out this some colossal awesomeness sauce thing that all of your prospects are going to come into and say, "Ooh, I love that," and that's not going to happen. Not only that, you just created a rabbit hole that's going to take you more time to manage that damn automation than it will be to run a business. So
right.
the piece of advice that I gave everybody is, look, start very, very, very simple. Very simple. Do not overthink it. Do not have all these if-then hooks and if they go do this and all this different stuff, because if you do, there's only one person in the world who knows what all that shit means. It's you. You just tethered yourself to this massive beast that you cannot get away from. So keep it simple. Automate your follow-up systems. Very simple. Stupid simple. Automate your memberships. Automate your billing. There's a lot of things that you can really do that you can really, really move the needle for your agency without building some massive take over the world. I'm going to build Rome and automation kind of thing, right? And I'm telling you, without fail, it took me 30 minutes with about every damn prospect to get them to understand that just because you can does not mean you should. Okay, so you're getting into a $250,000 automation implementation project here. And when I give this to you and then tell you it's going to take 3 full-time employees just to maintain the damn thing, you're not going to be happy. I'm just letting you know that now. I will take your money, but I'm going to do it ethically, and I'm going to tell you up front, you're going to be miserable with this thing in 6 months. Totally. Start simple. Yeah, start simple. Keep a little simple process. Let it work. Get it ironed out. Make sure it's on autopilot where you can completely forget about it. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. You do that for 6 months. Now, I don't know, 10 hours of your week, or maybe even more, 20 hours of your week are gone. Now you can go focus on really, really actually building a business and not just in the quagmire of the details of running the day-to-day operations, right? So,
yeah, good advice. Yeah, Infusionsoft, we're Infusionsoft users, and I know exactly what you're saying, man. Yeah. It actually takes longer to undo automations than
oh my gosh, the 3 million tags, the duplicate records. I call it crosstalk. They're in one campaign. You thought you put a kill switch in, but you didn't. Now they're in 2 campaigns, and it's just, I'm telling you, it doesn't turn out as well as we had dreamed up in our little master of the world brain here. Now, I wish it did, though. I wish it did. But if you keep it simple, again, a great example is the Membarium. I use LearnDash Membarium and Infusionsoft. Brilliant combination when it comes to building out a membership portal. And I mean, it's awesome. Automated billing. It's super simple. It just applies the rate. It's just simple. It works. Now, behind the scenes, I know Micah, the owner of it, and God, he spent 3 or 4 years writing that code. So it's super complex behind the scenes. But from running a business perspective, it literally is apply a tag. I mean, I don't know what platform you use, but it's literally
the same. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, literally apply a tag. When you do that, it'll process the order. It'll do all this. It's setting this up, and it's getting it all set up. Now that, big fan, but don't go. I mean, what cracks me up is if I see this all the time. They'll build out this massive funnel. And so they're going through it, and they got all the decision diamonds. And so if they come into this one and they click this, they're going to go this route. They click this, they're going to go this route. And definitely there's a place for that. No doubt about it like that, but they go too far with it. they oh my gosh, there will be 22 different options. The next thing you know is they're down a rabbit hole, and they're like, where the hell am I? I came here for this. I had a squirrel moment, and now I'm down some rabbit. I can't get, where the hell am I? Anyway, and it can actually hurt you. It can frustrate your prospects a lot more, and you'll never know. That's the danger of automation, is when you turn that sucker on, by the time you realize it's broke, it's already pissed off 50-year prospects.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's just it's a slippery slope. As powerful as it is on the good, it can be just as powerful on the bad. So just make sure you keep all that stuff in context, right? So, all right, man, I saved the final question because this one, I'm super excited about this one. I'm very excited to hear your feedback on this, okay? During the downtime, I've always found that if you get caught up in the pain or the stress or the pressure of the moment, I call it ants, automatic negative thoughts. I'm sorry, Dr. Daniel Amen taught me that. I was working with him on a PBS special doing some stuff, and he taught me this. We all have it. It's a survival mechanism, okay? So when you're in the wild 1,000 years ago or whatever, you hear a twig break and you don't assume that it's a tiger, you're the idiot, you're about to get eaten. Okay.
Mm.
Well, that same survival mechanism that we have in our hearts and brains like that just doesn't apply as much in today's modern world. Okay. The reason I bring all this up is because fear has a tendency to really grip people, like really grip people. Rightfully so. I'm sure we've all been there. As a parent, it becomes more and more because now it's not you anymore, it's them. So I have found that it's critical to just focus on future growth and do the best you can, not to sit there and fester in the fear of the moment.
Mm.
And ultimately, that's a very long winded pre-frame, but here's the actual question. Okay. If you're focusing on future growth, you're doing what we've talked about, cutting the fat, systems and product optimization. And most importantly, in my heart of hearts, we have the third digital gold rush coming. And I'm already seeing it. A lot of my students are getting what I call the buzz. You get an extra email or two response from the mailing. You'll get a couple extra messages on Facebook, or maybe a text from a client you didn't hear from for a couple of years, or something, that kind of stuff. And then inevitably, within a week or two, you'll start getting requests for proposals. And then here we go. So with the third gold rush coming down the pipe, I don't know when it's going to hit, but I know it's going to hit because there's not a CEO on the planet worth their salt that has not been told by everyone to go digital and virtual, right? Okay. So we know it's coming. Have you started to experience that? Have you seen anything like that? What is your take on it's a theory right now. This nothing about what I'm saying has been proven factually in a court of law, but I just want to get your experience on. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think was talking pre-show, we have one of our Mavericks Club members who services health practitioners. And of course, when coronavirus happened here in Australia, we went into lockdown pretty quickly. It kind of took everyone by surprise, and everyone was in a bit of shock, and everyone freaked out for a couple of weeks. And then people realized, okay, this is now the new normal. We have to keep surviving. We have to keep growing. Life goes on. And so one of our Mavericks members took something that he was already kind of working on, which is how to spin up online membership websites for health practitioners, online portals really, so that clients could log in and access resources like work from home exercises if you're a chiropractor, or and he put that in front of his yoga studios and his Pilates studios, and they bought it straight away because they needed to get online and they needed a quick solution. So he productized it so that he could roll it out really quickly. He went through a period of a couple of weeks of freaking out like we all did. And then he said, okay, the opportunity here is for me to use the technology that we understand and to use our understanding of this business niche to provide a solution for our customers to get online very quickly and very efficiently. And then moving forward, once we're out of COVID and people are kind of, the dust settles, then these clients of his will start spending marketing effort and marketing dollars on driving people to those online portals.
Yep.
So there's definitely, there are opportunities everywhere. And
huge.
You can basically, take two approaches to a situation like this. You can freak out, which is, as you say, is an automatic negative thought, and you can get stuck there. Or you can say, okay, I can't control what the government's going to tell me. I can't control lockdown. I can't control when the restaurants and the gyms are going to reopen. That's out of my control. What I can control is what I do and the value that I add to my clients. And if you know your clients well enough, your job right now is to identify growth opportunities for your clients. Now, there might not, in some sectors, there just may not be growth opportunities, and you may have to pivot. We have some members who serve tourism companies, and particularly eco-tourism companies. Well, those companies have just been wiped off the face of the planet for the time being, right? They've got coaches and buses just sitting in car parks empty. The whitewater rafting is just not happening. It's, it's a ghost town for the time being. So you might need to pivot in the meantime. One of our members is doing that and pivoting towards e-commerce, because e-commerce there's huge demand for it.
Blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do believe there is an opportunity for tourism companies to get into e-commerce over the next, during this period where we can't have people come and visit. They can still get online and buy, mementos and buy souvenirs.
And merchandising, different things like that.
Correct. Yeah. You can still have a relationship with your customers during lockdown, and then when the restrictions are relaxed, then you've got a good relationship with those people who come back to your attraction, your tourism business. So your job as a service provider, as an agency owner or a freelancer, is to identify growth opportunities for your clients and have those conversations. Now, unfortunately, most people are too scared to do that because it feels like, things are really tough right now and you want me to go sell something to my client. And that's not the suggestion. The suggestion is no one is calling your customers, asking them how they are and asking, how can we help?
Thank you.
Right?
Exactly.
No one's doing it. So
Oh.
if you do that, you're going to be an angel. You are going to be a heaven sent angel.
And they will remember you forever. They will remember you forever. They will never leave you as long as you deliver value, obviously, you know. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so. One of my students is actually in Melbourne, and he serves restaurants, right? So obviously, I mean, plummeted. So I actually offered one-on-one coaching for free for all of my one-on-one students during this, just for about a month and a half, 2 months, just to, you know, just, I'm in a good spot. I haven't missed a meal in a little while. Trust me, I haven't missed a meal in a while. So, I just wanted to help out. And so he and I rolled up our sleeves, and we really got creative. And I'm going to tell you right now, for the restaurant industry, we went out there and we put together an ad campaign, the 14 top converting Instagram ads for, y'all call it something different. We call it pickup and delivery, but y'all call it something else over in Australia. He always uses different terms, whatever, like carry out or something. I don't remember what it was, but basically delivery and pickup. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And man, he's already picked up, like, I think 5 or 6 different clients because he had that ad going, and he also offered, listen, I'm going to give you the systems and processes for your business. He did it for one of his, like a little cafe, as a walk in and out cafe. They went 100% delivery, 100% pickup. They even put a little thing out, and he coached them through the whole thing, spent 2 days on site. Okay. There's a couple of ladies that own it. You should see them. They are like, they are disciples. They're out there preaching about, his name's Mark, preaching about Mark. And Mark took those testimonials, that success, and that ad campaign, and went to his other clients. And about half of them, boom, on the spot, signed up. He took a hit. I mean, obviously he took a hit. Yeah. But now what has that done? That is his clients. He could probably come back to them and say, hey, I'm going to sell you green Jello. It doesn't matter. He could sell them about anything down the road. And 2, guess what? He just has a brand new service offering. Not only is he going to try to put butts in the seats out there, but he's going to drive delivery, pickup, takeout, carry out, all of it. And that's not going to go away. So he just expanded his product offering. He also found a new lead source because, albeit he was driving leads for his restaurants via Facebook, he was having a hard time getting the volume to convert at the rate that he needed for his, because it's a very high ticket item. And we know that Facebook it takes a little while to convert that, right? So, but we wound up driving, I think, 240 or 50 leads for less than $500 into the nurturing system. Anyway, so he just, through one of my mentors from way back taught me this: change begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
It's amazing what you will do whenever all of a sudden your little perfect little world is disrupted, like COVID. Okay. I mean, man, you get pretty damn creative. Okay. And that's what he did. And I was so impressed with that. And now he is so poised because, again, restaurants are coming back. When the only part about the third gold rush, I don't know, or guys like me, you don't know yet, is when is it going to happen? It's going to be localized. It'll be each individual community about how they feel about it, and their medical, a lot of factors, right? But if you can focus on the future growth and focus on helping, I call it moral compass marketing. Now is not the time to try to go out there and profit off of people. Okay. Actually, I tell you what, starting now, things are starting to open back up over here in the United States. So it's a little bit better now, but up until the last 2 months, no way, man. No, man, you're going to hurt your brand more than you would ever be able to rebound from that. Moral compass marketing, go out there and help and help and help. And you're going to hear their pain because you're helping. And they're going to tell you those pain points. Those pain points are opportunities for products. Those products are future revenue models. That's how companies adapt and evolve.
Yeah. No, and the other thing is, no one expects you to do anything for free, right? So it's okay to charge maybe a reduced amount to add value and to service your clients during this period, or even put them on a deferred payment. Nobody expects you to do anything for free. If you're in a position to, and you're doing it as a value add because you can, and you genuinely care about the well-being of your clients and the success of your clients, then glory to you. But no one expects you to help them for free. As I said, put it on a deferred payment, do it at a reduced rate. But you, as an agency owner and a freelancer, you've got to stay in business as well. Otherwise, you can't service any of your clients. So I think that's a big misconception at the moment is that people are thinking, well, everyone's hurting, so I've got to go out there and service my clients and I can't charge. That's not the
That's
case.
not
No one
the
expects
case at all. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely not the case at all. Yeah, good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I've heard that now that you mentioned that. I've heard that a couple of times. Should I go out there? I'm like, no. You definitely need to charge now. You know, be cool about it. It's kind of you just gotta be cool. You gotta be cool about it. Yeah, exactly. If it comes from a genuine place where you're genuinely helping and you genuinely have a good product, not some of these. Pardon me, not some of these assholes trying to take advantage of the situation, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's coming from a genuine place, there's a thin gray line there. Very thin gray line. But you're going to find out that it's actually.
Actually, I reckon it's a pretty thick line, man. I reckon it's a pretty thick line, and a lot of people are just willing to jump it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, I just don't think you can. I don't think you can fail if you follow that maxim.
I do agree with that. I live by that, but I hate to say that. I feel like a lot of society doesn't live by that mantra as much as they used to, but I live and die by that mantra for sure. But I feel like just with the digital wall, people are much more in tune to try to. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I mean, with the digital wall, they feel like they can rip people off. There's no pain there anymore. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's a totally different conversation for a different day. But so at the end of the day, the ants will eat you alive, and the negative thoughts will eat you alive. And just for coming from two guys that have actually been there and done that, the worst thing you can do is get caught up in those negative thoughts and sit there and think that there's not a whole lot you can do. The external circumstances are controlling, like you were saying. COVID, government, there's a million things right now you could easily point to and be legitimate to state, wow, that's just too much for me to overcome, right? Or whatever's going through your head. And I just want to tell you, just from a coach and somebody who's built a big agency, sold it, and doing this, and Troy has been very successful. That is probably the worst thing you can do. Get up, become creative, become innovative, focus on the future growth. If you focus on the future growth and you're building for the future growth, and it is coming, you don't have time to get so much caught up in the ants and the negative thoughts. And it is a game changer because entrepreneurs never have any downtime. So now that we got a little bit of downtime and you focus on that future growth, along with the third gold rush coming, you're going to be in a very lucrative spot come up. And again, the only thing I don't know is the timing. I'm going to say 90 to 100. Guaranteed fourth quarter, possibly third quarter, but there's no doubt the fourth quarter is going to be big for the global economy. And so just get ready for it, prepare for it, and just get ready for it and try to stay out of let those ants just kind of, get an anteater and try to kill them, eat them, get them out of there. So,
yeah. Be careful what you consume. Like
big time.
One of the things I learned very quickly during coronavirus when it first started here in Australia is I was watching the news, and after about 3 days, I said to my wife, "I've got to stop watching the news.
Cut that off.
Just bleak, man. That is just depressing. Like there is just no hope there at all." So you got to be aware of the headlines. You got to be aware of developments and aware of what's happening, but then be careful what you consume. Don't consume too much news. Don't consume too much alcohol. Don't consume too much junk food. And don't buy shit on Amazon you don't need.
I've been guilty of that one, though. I have to admit, I have anyway, but I feel like I needed at the time anyway. So, actually, whatever. I'm not even going to tell you some of this crazy stuff I bought on Amazon, but, well, Troy, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure to get to know you.
Pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
To know each other. So, this is shameless plug moment, man. Throw it out there. What you got? What's working? What's hot? What do you want to get the word out about? So.
Yeah, well, we got a bunch of. I mean, we basically serve two ends of the market, two spectrums of the market. We serve people who are starting out or trying to get their freelance business to over six figures, and we do that through our online courses at WP Elevation. And then we serve our high performing agencies who are multiple six figures and over seven figures, and we do that in our Mavericks Club Mastermind. So, the mavericksclub.com is the mastermind. WPElevation.com is the online course platform. And if you just want some free stuff, our Digital Mavericks Facebook group is awesome. You can just go to facebook.com and search the Digital Mavericks Facebook group.
Very engaged, great group. So great group. So Troy, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's something. What time is it over there? Actually, it's got to be pretty early. Huh?
It's about 10 to 9 on Tuesday morning. So it's
okay.
It's
yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. So any parting thoughts, or are we good to go?
I think we're good, man. Let me know when this goes live, and we'll definitely share it with our audience and keep up the good work.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, let's get you over to the next episode. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe to my podcast. And if you are not following us on YouTube or in our private Facebook group, make sure to get over there and check those out as well. And of course, we're also available, always available at marketingagencycoach.com. Look forward to seeing you at all those channels, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.